I had the chance to attend by remote, the beauty of being in a new world, a seminar given by Dr. Karikó at Cambridge University. Besides having really appreciated her sense of humor, after the seminar, she said something very important. People working in science work for the pleasure of making new discoveries, to understand how biology works. It is curiosity that drives our work, no matter how difficult it is to reach achievements. A publication in top-notch journals, Nature, Science, should not be what drives our science. Solving little problems and sharing of the data is what makes scientists successful. Dr. Karikó has remained very humble, even after being finally recognized for her fantastic achievements and for having saved thousands of lives, which is the dream of every scientist in biomedical translational research. I hope I will do it someday. She's also a role model for females who want to get into STEM subjects. She says that if you want to be a good scientist, you should find the right husband, who is supportive, does not complain about long working hours, and learns how to cook, fundamental. I wouldn't agree more, but I think that what made Katalin very successful is resilience and courage. She left Hungary in 1985 with around $1,200 hidden in a teddy bear, a dream, a passion for science, and a 2-year-old little girl. She had several stops in her career, but never gave up on her mission and made curiosity drive her science. The mRNA technology that Katalin contributed to establish has far-reaching potential and applications in other fields, including cancer vaccines and therapy, from which it actually started, and therapeutic potential for several other disorders. It is a multifaceted technology with great potential. As a scientist, woman, and mom, I'm very grateful to Katalin for her resilience in science for driving us out of the pandemic. Thank you, Katalin.
Professor Montorsi will now confer the honorary degree in medicine and surgery to Katalin Karikó.
So this is the formal part of the ceremony, but trust us that it's not formal for all of us. It's touching our heart inside, really. Let me read the motivation. In recognition of the extraordinary contribution made to the study and development of a new generation of vaccines based on innovative mRNA technology, by virtue of the vested authority pursuant to the proposal of the Department of Biomedical Sciences and the approval of the Minister of University and Research on July 12, 2021, I, Marco Montorsi, Rector of Humanitas University, confers upon Katalin Karikó the honorary degree of Medicine and Surgery.
Katalin Karikó, Senior Vice President of BioNTech, will now take the floor.
I just cannot use it. I still get so emotional. I am first time in Italy, in Milan. I visited yesterday, beautiful city, art everywhere, and fashion. And I enjoyed very much being here. I don't know why I didn't come earlier. Probably I had another experiment to do and was always busy. So, dear professor, doctors, researcher, dear guests, students, and colleagues, I am deeply honored and grateful to the Humanitas University giving me the honorary doctorate degree. It is a wonderful feeling to be recognized and giving me, you can see, I am humbled, excited, and have a deep sense of appreciation. I have not been in the spotlight in my life. For 4 decades, thank you. That's okay. For 4 decades, I worked quietly in the laboratory, performing experiments myself. Wrote a lab book, notebook, and papers. I was picking up radioactive materials and also that, defrosted the freezer. So I did everything myself. I knew that what I was doing is important. So I didn't expect anybody to tap my shoulder and praise me and say that, Kati, you are doing a good job. And I was not attending ceremonies. The only ceremony I went when my daughter got gold medals in the Olympics and World Championship. Okay, I grew up in Hungary, in a small town with a population of 10,000. My mother was a bookkeeper, my father was a butcher. I learned how to make sausage. We had a big garden, maybe here in Italy is more appreciated, to make sausage. So we had a big garden and animals in the yard. And as a little girl, I watched the chicken hatch from the eggs. And I watched how the plants grow out of the small seeds. And I was very curious. And I had great teachers, and they encouraged me to keep learning. So that was my humble beginning, and there was a long, long, winding road on which I arrived here today. My greatest joy in science is have those small and large victories in the lab. So if somebody wants to be a scientist, it is not what I am here today, to be famous. This is not about it. The science is this, deep thinking and away from the spotlight. If you want to be in the spotlight, be an actor or actress, or probably if you want to be, rich, then probably do not do science. So many times in the laboratory, when I got disappointed because my experiment didn't work, I have a quote from Leonardo da Vinci on the wall where it's written, and then when I read, I cheered up. Because it says that experiment never err, only your expectation. So every time I had to think that the reason for the failure was something that I didn't do experiment I expected the result for. So I had to always think critically. With my colleague together, we spent years working out technologies. And sometimes it seemed very unconventional, and sometimes almost like science fiction. But we share the immense belief that if the result of our work could prove the life of only one person, then we have succeeded. And it is such a relief to know today that by now the vaccine successfully protected so many people from the serious side effect of COVID-19. During these 4 decades, I learned so much. So I thought that I will share my experience with the student who might be online, and some of them maybe is here present. So what is the most important? Love your work. We spend most of our life working, which is, important that we have to enjoy it. And as we learned just listening to Pier Paolo, it is very important that here most of the students already decided that they want to be physicians or scientists, and they will dedicate their life helping others, taking care of the patient. Second thing, which I find very important, is you have to learn how to handle stress. I was in high school when my teacher handed a book called Stress of Life from Hans Scheyer, who happened to be a Hungarian, and they translated the book. So in high school, I could read that book. And this book helped me to stay on track no matter how challenging it has been. Shea actually coined the word stress for the human feeling in the 1930s. He said that stress can kill you, but depending on how you perceive it, how you react it. And believe it or not, life without stress is very boring. So you need stress, that's what he said. But you have to learn how to convert the negative stress to positive one. So let's say if you are fired from your job, embrace it, the news, and take it as a new opportunity. You are not believing me. Okay. I needed this advice as I have been terminated in my position several times. I wouldn't be here if it wouldn't happen. So by adopting the right attitude, you can convert the negative stress to a positive one. And you need this positive stress, what it is: expectation, excitement. And so I look every time as one door closed and other opened. The next advice: focus what you can do and what you can change. And this is again from Shea. Many students and young people, and even older one, can burn out because they realize that comparing themselves to others, they realize that those others might not, working that hard, not achieving that much, but they are promoted, they get more salary, and so on. I ask, please do not pay attention to those things because you cannot change. It is just a distraction. Rather spend your energy to improve yourself, work harder, be more creative, and then perform better. The next one is believe in yourself. The environment can be intimidated, especially for young people entering to a new workplace, and it seems that everybody knows so much. And then, as myself, a small-town girl from Hungary going to the American Ivy League school, I was asking myself, could I think something that all those very, very smart people publishing the top journal not think about? But I had to answer that, yes, why not? And so I am asking, please believe yourself. Do not settle for a lesser job. Aim high and believe you can do it. What they say is, believing in yourself is an endless destination. Believing you will fail, end of your journey. The next one, advice is get to know your fellow student, nice to them, follow their professional work. In 2003, when I realized that I have to make a nucleoside-modified RNA, but I had no idea how I can do it. So I first turned to Tamás Kis, a biologist, who used to be a fellow student at University of Szeged. We lived in the same dormitory and actually worked in the same institute. By that time, he was working in Toulouse, and I knew that he discovered and published how the molecular mechanism occurs when our own body gets RNA modification. So I called him up, asked for help. He gave me good advice, but he said that those enzymes he's using won't help me. So I had to call up another student who, at that time was already a professor and as organic chemist, János Ludwig. He used to be a fellow student, graduate student. We worked shoulder to shoulder in the RNA lab in the 80s. And he told me where I can buy the material that eventually I did and could generate the desired RNA. So I am asking the student, when they are sitting in the classroom, just look around you and look at those other students, because one day you will need their help. Those will be the expert. And if you create a relationship and follow their work after graduation, learn what they are doing, and they will help you. Those relations that formed during the university years is not based on interest, because we are just students together, and so that's the beauty of it. And what Maria mentioned, another advice, find the right partner for life. I met my husband while we were students, and he has supported all my decisions every step on the way. He moved to a foreign country with me. We had hardly had any money in our pocket, and our daughter, 2 years old, was our side. And he did all of this so I can continue my research. And he never told me, stop research, finally cook something. When I was at the weekend rushing back, because there was always one more important experiment to do. He even supported me to move to Germany 8 years ago when I felt I needed to do it to help mRNA enter to the clinical trial. He knew how important science was for me. And my daughter, Susan Francia, grew up to appreciate my lifelong commitment to science, and she also always encouraged me. So girls, my advice is to you that you do not need to choose between your career and having a child. Find the right husband who cares about your dreams and support your decision. And finally, let me tell you about another story about my daughter. She was 7 years old, just finished 2nd grade. And when she got home, started writing a letter right away. I asked her, who you are writing to? And she said to me, to my teacher, Mrs. Wilson. I thank her for the wonderful year. We learned so much. I was 35 years old. And I realized I haven't sent any letter to my teachers. But then all changed. Now I visit them, call them, send letter, and express my appreciation. So the conclusion is, do not hesitate to learn from anybody. Even a 7-year-old can teach you something. And from time to time, tell those who helped you how much you value what they have done for you. So with that, I would like to say thanks. I am very grateful to my family for their lifelong support. My parents who taught me that hard work is part of life, and all those who helped me on my journey, my mentors, my teachers, colleagues, for their generosity and inspiration. And thank you for your attention. I wish to the university students a very successful academic and personal life. Thank you.